Cooking soul. Cooking soul.
Good morning from the cradle of golf in America, Pinehurst Resort. Glad to have you along for this one. It is Welcome to Pinehurst here on Baby Grand Golf. I'm Nick Gismondi. Joining me this morning for our practice round morning preview is Nolan Miller, the tournament director for the 78th edition of the Donald Ross Jr. Invitational. Nolan, thanks so much for, of course, having us here at this amazing place in the United States.
Yeah, absolutely. We're glad to bring you guys along for the ride.
Of course, Pinehurst, been around since 1895, and the namesake of the tournament is Donald Ross, who pretty much goes hand in hand with this place. And we were just talking and joking about the ghost of Donald Ross that exists and flows through this clubhouse. But when you think about Pinehurst, it's hard to not think about the impact that Donald Ross, the Scottish-American architect who is credited to over 400 courses, he certainly left his fingerprints on this place.
Yeah, absolutely. He did a number of our golf courses here, with obviously number 2 being his most famous design. He was one of our golf professionals here, the head golf professional. For the latter part of his life, he actually resided on the 3rd green, of course, number 2, and his house is still there. Pinehurst now owns the property, and some special guests have stayed there over the years, so very cool.
When you think about the impact that he has had, I mean, it's really difficult. There's a lot of great course designers, of course, and we'll talk about this course and the courses that the juniors are going to be playing as well. They won't be on number 2. Number 2 is actually right behind us. I'm sure you recognize the famous 18th green. Boy, some history has come there. But when you think about Donald Ross and Pinehurst, what is it about his designs, do you think, that resonates and is so iconic throughout the, as I said earlier, over 400 courses that he's been a part of?
Yeah, I mean, he has a lot of different architecture style. I mean, you go from one of his golf courses like course number 1, which our juniors are playing this week, and then course number 2, and those are vastly different golf courses. He does bring some of the link style golf to his properties, but they are so different all across the country. Number 2 is infamous kind of for its turtleback shaped greens.
Crown greens.
Exactly, exactly. So if you're not dead on with the number you're trying to hit, that ball might roll 50 yards away. Versus a course like number 1 is a little bit more forgiving. You still see a little bit kind of that crown architecture on the greens, but not nearly as much as you do on number 2.
We'll talk a little bit more about Donald Ross, of course, and the architecture. We'll talk about the juniors here in just a moment, but I want to go back to your history here. You've been here a while. You've seen some amazing things here. If you had to put a pin on an iconic moment, and it doesn't need to necessarily be a U.S. Open. It could be the North and the South. I know I was here for that this past year. Last 2 years, that's always an exciting event. This past year's North and South Amateur was an incredible finish. But for you, what is a crowning moment or a one that sticks out in your Pinehurst history lore?
Yeah, I mean, being a part of the 2024 U.S. Open that was here last summer was pretty incredible. I was fortunate enough. I was in charge of kind of the player shuttle committee, and puts you in front of a lot of really cool talent. You got to interact with a lot of players, but I will say, after my shift had finished that Sunday afternoon, a lot of us golf pros actually were up on the roof right above us, and we got to see Bryson's finish right there. So that was pretty incredible, actually watching that shot live from a viewpoint like that was pretty sweet, not being down on the ground, getting to actually see the ball fly through the air out of the bunker right there. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
I've stood over there at that bunker location and just, I mean, the incredibleness, not really a word, but of that shot is just, it's baffling. He was able to do what he did under that pressure in that situation from that location. Yeah,
my ball probably would have ended up either in the windows of the clubhouse or it would have gone about 4 feet in front of me. So I've tried the shot. It did not work as well as his did.
We get ready for the Donald Ross Junior Championship. That event, it's right after Christmas.
Yeah.
It's at this iconic location, but it is a highly sought-after event. You have over 200
junior event to what at that time was a relatively lacking junior golf scene. Obviously, it's blown up in America. But also, this is it was started more as a family-style golf tournament, being around the holidays. It was great that all of our families could come together and play in this tournament here. So that was kind of the idea behind it.
Let's talk a minute more about that in a sec, but I would like to touch on weather. I've been doing this a long time. I'm actually not nervous. I know that the mic is shaking a little bit, but that's purely to do with temperature and not my mentality at the moment. But I feel like you and me are Colorado guys mostly, and unfortunately here for most of our baby grand covers the last few months, we've been in warm climates, but the weather has not quite cooperated, and it is a chilly start to the day. The week should be all right tomorrow.
Yeah.
Perhaps the final round day might be a little cooler than expected.
Yeah, thought the sun might peek out for us. The high today is like 65.
I know.
Once the sun comes out, it should be nice. Weather tomorrow looks good. High of 70. It's going to get cold overnight. Probably won't have a frost delay, but on Tuesday morning we could. But tee times don't start until 10 a.m. at the earliest on Tuesday, so might have a frost delay. Probably won't be too long. Yeah.
And the courses, obviously, 10 of them here at the Pinehurst Resort. The juniors for the Donald Ross playing on multiple ones. They'll be on 1, 4, 5, and 8.
That's correct. Yep, 1, 4, 5, and 8.
Let's just talk through each of those courses and just sort of a brief overview of what players can expect. And let's start with number 1.
Sure. So number 1, that's Donald Ross's original design. That is going to host all of our girls divisions. We've got about 65 girls players, and that's also going to host our boys 11 and under division, and we've got about 30 of them. So about 90 players on course number 1. That course, the reason that we play those divisions there, purely yardage purposes, course number 1 maxes out at about 6,000 from the back tees, which is about where the girls 15 to 18 will be playing. But it is a par 70, I might add. So, some of the yardage is foregone in the par there. And then course number 4, that's going to host our boys 12 to 14 age division. We've got about 85 players there. Course number 4 is a Gil Hands redesign, I should say, that was done in 2017. That was done leading up to what was then the USAM and then the U.S. 4-ball. So boys 12 to 14 will be there. Courses number 5 and 8 are going to host our boys 15 to 18 division. That is our largest division. We've got almost 180 players there, so they're going to be split across those courses, and then they will flip. So the guys that are playing 5 the first day will play 8 the second day, and then they'll switch.
Now, number 8, obviously, I'm very familiar with. I've seen that at the North and South Junior quite often. Of those courses, is there one that maybe sticks out as a tougher challenge than another? I mean, I know 8 can be tricky.
Yes, 8 is definitely probably the hardest course in the rotation, I think, from a playability standpoint. It's a lot of penalty areas out there. It's built on a nature preserve, so there are a lot more places to get into trouble. It's a little bit longer than number 5. Number 5 is a little more player-friendly, I will say. So I think the guys that have 8 the second day will definitely need to go low on 5 the first day.
You talk about over 300 juniors here converging on Pinehurst right after Christmas. You take a look at that field. For your purposes, where does the strength lie, and how are you able to consistently bring in such good players and such a high velocity?
I can tell you the name on the table right there goes a long ways. Yeah. In addition, we've kind of started to build this tournament into more of a championship tier status. So we're trying to recruit more players for it. It's now turned into an application-based event. It was originally just a first-come, first-serve event. It's now application-based, which really helps kind of strengthen the field. And then we also have some exemptions that play off into our other events. So that really gets some players here that say, I want to play in the Junior North-South next year. An easy way to do that, well, not so easy, but a path to do that is getting top 15 in the boys 15 to 18 division. Those players are all invited to come back here for the Junior North and South Amateur. So,
and I do want to touch on the Junior North and South Amateur because it's a huge event that you do have in the summer. As I said earlier, I've been lucky enough to be here for that several times. I know that Baby Grand's excited to be part of a lot of these events moving forward here at Pinehurst. But when you think about these tournaments in general, and obviously we talk about the history of this place, but I want to talk about the high level of talent, again, that you sort of just touched on that is able to come to these events because it is some of the top juniors in the world playing in pretty much any event that happens here at Pinehurst.
Yeah, absolutely. Other than a U.S. Amateur happening here, I would imagine so. Well, these players, a lot of them have aspirations to come play in the U.S. Open that's going to happen here in 2029, other years down the road. So that definitely is an easy selling point. And then obviously our champion from the Junior North-South gets to actually play in the real men's and women's North and South, which is one of the pinnacle championships for amateur golf. So those exemptions kind of like to play off each other.
We talked about walking around the hallowed grounds here and the place that Donald Ross built, and there is so much history. It's always fun to come to Pinehurst because you can literally just wander around the clubhouse or the Caroline Hotel, and you're just steeped in the history of the place. Of the amateurs that have sort of come through here, what's been the resonating thing that maybe they come back and talk to you about when they make it to go play Division I college golf, or even some of them that are working through the Corn Ferry events right now?
Yeah, it's always great to have players come back and support our event. Every year for the men's and women's North-South, we do try to have a guest speaker come back as a tour player, a tour caddy. Last year, we had Dwayne Bach, who has been on the bag for Kevin Kisner, now Sepp Straka. He actually won the North and South back when he was playing his college golf. So it's cool to have those guys come back and talk about how important the tournament was, how important Pinehurst was to getting their career launched, and then obviously getting to come back here and play as a professional.
Nolan, we were talking about it last night, and I think this is poignant to speak about for any of the junior golfers that are watching. Obviously, this is a crucial time for especially the 2026s. There are some that still haven't found that college commitment, whether it be D1, 2, or 3. Does this tournament play into that a little bit? Will you see a lot of maybe those players who are trying to catch the eye of a coach in that sort of last little minute situation?
Yeah, absolutely. We do have some coaches coming. I've had some coaches contact me. They will be here. The holiday makes it a little difficult. I know we do have traditionally a lot more coaches that come out for the Junior North and South. But something that we're excited about adding this year, we did it for the Junior North and South last year, is tomorrow evening we're going to have a college golf recruiting seminar and panel. Fantastic. So for the kids that maybe didn't get recruited this year but are looking for years future, they're going to be able to come hear from legendary coach at Texas women's golf, Susan Watkins will be here, and I'll be emceeing that with her. And it'll really just be a good conversation about how they can better put themselves out there, what tournaments they should be playing and what kind of rankings they should be looking forwards. And, there are a lot of people like me who were good junior golfers, and we decided not to go play college golf, and we chose a path that was still working in golf. I went down the professional golf management path, got my PGA, so we will also be talking about that for maybe the kids that say, hey, I still want to play golf in college, but maybe not play college golf.
And I love that we had that conversation last night. You and I have been friends for a long time. You know the, what's the word? The recruiting endeavor that I also went through with a close member of my family, and it is tricky. It's agonizing
tough.
To a certain degree.
Yeah, absolutely. I watched my sister go through it with college lacrosse. It is definitely a difficult process to navigate.
Yeah, I love that you guys are having resources like that for the players in this event, because I think that the stress level for some of these kids at this level, and thinking, okay, I got to show up, I got to play really good at Pinehurst because I got to put up a good number because it might be the last thing coaches look at for a few months.
Right. That definitely happens, yeah.
This tournament will be kicking off tomorrow. Baby Grand is going to have coverage for you throughout both of the days, rounds 1 and rounds 2, from a variety of the courses. So make sure you're catching us for those live streams. We'll also have a morning show from here, Pinehurst number 2, on the veranda overlooking 18 Green. Rhea Scott and Steve Scott joining me tomorrow, and then we'll also have a nightly wrap-up as well. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. We'll have some features and other things sprinkled throughout our coverage also here on Baby Grand as we get you set for the 78th annual Donald Ross Jr. Championship. Nolan Miller with me for just a few more moments here before we say goodbye this morning. What do you think in terms of the mentality of these golfers coming in, knowing the history of it? How do you calm yourself? You've obviously played junior golf. There's an intensity when you step onto this place. There's a feel about this course. How do you manage those?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'd say, luckily for these kids' nerves, I think it's a good thing that they're not playing number 2. That would definitely awaken a new beast in some of them.
2 is something.
It is definitely one of the most challenging golf courses I have ever played. So I'd say that definitely helps. But the nice thing is about a tournament like this and about junior golf, a lot of these kids do know each other. They grew up together. We do still have a relatively large local field, so a lot of these kids play Carolina's junior golf together. So that is nice. I think that makes it a little more welcoming of an environment, makes them feel a little bit more comfortable. I definitely recognize a lot of the names returning from past years, returning from the Junior North and South. So I do think there is some of that comfort there. Yeah. But, it's still tournament golf, so it's going to make you nervous. But you know what? Nerves mean you care.
Nolan Miller, tournament director here at Pinehurst and the tournament director for the Donald Ross Jr. Championship. That kicks off tomorrow. Again, Baby Grand will have coverage. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. We will have, of course, the morning preview. Maria Scott, Steve Scott joining me, and then live coverage kicks off from round number 1 across all fields. That starts at 11 Eastern Time. We are so glad to have you with us here on Baby Grand, and we are so glad to have you at Pinehurst for this iconic event and many more to come. Nolan, thank you so much for the time, my friend.
Happy to have you guys here.
We will say goodbye for now. Make sure you stick with us on all of our socials. We'll have things starting to go up very shortly as we get you all set, again, for the 78th Donald Ross Jr. Championship from Pinehurst.
Cooking soul.